Welcome, tennis fans from around the globe, to what might just be the most electrifying and consequential breakdown of the season so far. We have an absolutely massive story developing today, one that has sent shockwaves to the tennis community and is dominating the headlines as we edge closer to the pinnacle of the clay court swing. The draw is out, the brackets are set, and the whole world is shocked by the sheer magnitude of the possibilities unfolding at the WTA 500 Internationals de Strasbourg. Our focus today is on none other than the Filipina sensation, Alexandra Eala. After an unexpected but highly deserved bump straight into the main draw of this prestigious tournament, Eala finds herself standing at a critical juncture in her young but incredibly promising career. The 2026 Strasbourg Open is no longer just a warm-up event. It is transformed into a high-stakes battleground. Eala is guaranteed to face a formidable opponent in the very first round, and the names swirling in the mix, Elsa Jackmot, Daria Kasatkina, Sofia Kenin, and Antonia Ruzic, have turned this opening clash into a blockbuster event that is everyone talking. Let us set the stage for why this news has taken the sporting world by storm. Alexandra Eala is not just a rising star anymore. She is a bona fide threat on the WTA Tour, representing the future of Asian tennis and carrying the hopes of an entire nation on her shoulders. Over the last year, we have witnessed her transition from a prodigious junior talent into a fierce, battle-tested professional. We have seen her navigate the grueling WTA calendar, taking on the best in the world, and proving time and again that she belongs on the biggest stages. Just look at her recent performances. At the Italian Open in Rome, a WTA 1000 event that tests the physical and mental limits of every player, Eala pushed through to the third round, displaying incredible grit and tactical maturity. She went toe-to-toe with the world number 2 and reigning Australian Open champion, Elena Rybakina, in a match that, despite ending in a defeat, showcased Eala's undeniable potential. She held her own in baseline rallies, countered extreme pace, and demonstrated a level of composure that belies her age. Now, she arrives in Strasbourg with a wealth of experience, a refined clay court game, and a hunger to make a deep run right before the French Open. But the tennis gods have decided to test her resolve immediately. The structure of the draw means Eala will be facing a qualifier or a uniquely positioned main draw entrant in the round of 32, and the potential candidates for this spot are nothing short of terrifying for an opening round. We are talking about Grand Slam champions, former top 10 stalwarts, and rising stars hungry for their own breakthrough. When the news broke that Eala's first-round opponent could be either Daria Kasatkina, Sofia Kenin, Elsa Jackmot, or Antonia Ruzic, the collective gasp from analysts and fans was audible. This is not a gentle introduction into a tournament. This is a trial by fire. Consider the implications of facing someone like Daria Kasatkina, a defensive mastermind who thrives on the dirt, weaving webs of spin and angles that leave opponents exhausted and frustrated. Or imagine the challenge of stepping onto the court against Sofia Kenin, a former Australian Open champion whose aggressive baseline game and unyielding competitive spirit make her a dangerous floater in any draw. Then there is Elsa Jackmot, the French hopeful who will have the fierce backing of the home crowd, play with a kind of inspired tennis that only local support can ignite. And we cannot overlook Antonia Ruzic, a young, hungry competitor who possesses a raw power and unpredictability to blow the racket out of anyone's hands on a good day. Any one of these matchups presents a unique, monumental hurdle for Eala, and the fact that she has to mentally prepare for such diverse and dangerous styles of play before the qualifier is finalized is a massive storyline in itself. The shock factor here is not just about the names. It is about the timing and the context. The Strasbourg Open is the ultimate testing ground before Roland Garros. It is the final opportunity for players to fine-tune their movement, adjust their strings for the European clay, and solidify their confidence. For Eala, who has already secured her main draw ticket to the French Open, this tournament is about sending a message. It is about proving that her run in Rome was not a fluke, that her solid performances in Madrid and Stuttgart are building blocks for a sustained presence at the top of the game. However, drawing a heavyweight in the first round means she has no time to ease into the tournament. She must bring her absolute best tennis from the very first ball. The tennis world is captivated because this single match could dictate the trajectory of her entire French Open campaign. A victory against a Kasatkina or a Kenin would skyrocket her confidence and put the rest of the tour on notice. A tough loss, while a learning experience, could momentarily derail the momentum she has worked so hard to build. Furthermore, this scenario underscores the incredible depth and brutality of women's tennis in 2026. There are no easy matches anymore. The line between a top 10 player and a qualifier is blurred, and every week, we see upsets that defy the odds. The fact that players of the caliber of Kasatkina and Kenin are even in a position to clash with Eala in the opening round speaks volumes about the fierce competition on the tour. It highlights the relentless grind these athletes endure, where past accolades guarantee nothing, and every match is a fight for survival. For Eala, embracing this challenge is part of the maturation process. She is no longer the underdog trying to make a name for herself. She is a recognized entity, a target, and a player that others now prepare meticulously to face. This opening round in Strasbourg is a microcosm of Alexandra Eala's journey. It is a collision of youth and experience, of raw talent and tactical cunning. We are witnessing the evolution of a player who has the potential to redefine tennis in the Philippines and across Asia. The stakes could not be higher. The anticipation is at a fever pitch, and the whole world is genuinely shocked by the sheer weight of this round one encounter. As we prepare to delve deeper into the tactical nuances, the head-to-head dynamics, and the psychological warfare that will define this match, one thing is abundantly clear. Whether it's Jackma, Kasatkina, Kenin, or Ruzek across the net, Alexandra Eala is stepping into the arena for what promises to be an epic, career-defining battle. This is the kind of drama that makes tennis the greatest sport on earth, and we are here to break down every single angle of it. Now, let us transition into a deep-dive analysis of what this all means. To truly understand the gravity of the situation, we need to dissect the game of Alexandra Eala and compare against the distinct profiles of her potential opponents. We must examine the mechanics, the strategies, and the mental fortitude required to survive this brutal opening round. Let us first examine the evolution of Alexandra Eala's clay court game. Over the past year, we have seen a remarkable transformation in how she constructs points on the dirt. Clay is a surface that demands patience, exceptional movement, and the ability to hit heavy spin-laden balls. Early in her career, Eala, like many players raised on harder courts, sometimes struggle with the sliding and prolonged rallies that clay necessitates. However, her recent performances indicate a profound shift in her comfort level. She has developed a much heavier topspin forehand, which she uses to push her opponents deep behind the baseline. This allows her to dictate the tempo of the rally and open up the court for her penetrating two-handed backhand, which remains her most lethal weapon. Her backhand down the line is a shot of pure beauty and destruction, often hit with flattening trajectory to finish points abruptly. But perhaps the most significant improvement in Eala's game is her serve and her return positioning. As we saw in her Madrid Open victory against Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova, Eala has started stepping inside the baseline, takes second serves early. By doing this, she robs her opponent of reaction time and immediately applies scoreboard pressure. On her own serve, while she may not consistently hit aces like a Rybakina or a Sabalenka, her placement and variation have improved drastically. She is using the kick serve out wide on the ad court to open up the geometry of the clay court, setting herself up for aggressive first strike tennis. Now, let's imagine a scenario where Eala faces Daria Kasatkina. This would be a tactical chess match of the highest order. Kasatkina is a defensive savant. She thrives on absorbing pace and redirecting it with heavy topspin. Her forehand is a looping, high-bouncing shot that aims to pin opponents to the back fence, making it incredibly difficult for aggressive players like Eala to step in and flatten out their shots. If Eala plays Kasatkina, the Filipino will have to exercise extreme patience. She cannot afford to pull the trigger too early in the rally, as Kasatkina will simply track the ball down and reset the point. Eala will need to use her short angles, bring Kasatkina forward with drop shots, and finish points meticulously at the net. It will be a grueling physical test, requiring Eala to hit 3 or 4 potential winners in a single point just to win one. The mental discipline required to play Kasatkina on clay is immense, and it would be a phenomenal benchmark for Eala's current level of maturity. On the other hand, what if the opponent is Sofia Kenin? This presents an entirely different set of challenges. Kenin is an ultimate competitor, a player who plays every point as if her life depends on it. She stands close to the baseline, takes the ball exceptionally early, and looks to dictate play with her flat, piercing ground strokes. Unlike Kasakina, who wants to extend the rally, Kenin wants to shorten it by taking time away from her opponent. Kenin's backhand is a major weapon, and her ability to change direction down the line is world-class. For Eala, a matchup against Kenin would require exceptional defensive movement and the ability to counterpunch effectively. Eala would need to use depth to keep Kenin from stepping inside the court. The serve will be crucial here. Eala must maintain a high first serve percentage to prevent Kenin from teeing off on the return. It would be a high-octane, aggressive encounter, with both players fighting for baseline supremacy. Eala would need to match Kenin's intensity and not back down from the physical baseline exchanges. Then we have the possibility of Elsa Jacquemot. Playing a French player in France is a unique experience. The crowd in Strasbourg is passionate, vocal, and unabashedly biased toward their home players. Jacquemot is a talented shot maker with a versatile game. She can generate excellent pace and is comfortable moving forward to the net. If Eala faces Jacquemot, she will not only be playing the opponent across the net, but also managing the atmosphere in the stadium. The key for Eala in this scenario would be a fast start. She needs to establish her authority early, quiet the crowd, and play heavily structured, disciplined tennis. If she allows Jacquemot to find her rhythm and the crowd gets involved, the match could become a highly volatile and emotional affair. Eala must stay within her own bubble, focus on her routines, and execute her aggressive baseline game without letting external noise affect her decision-making. Finally, we must consider Antonia Ruzicka. As a younger player trying to make her mark, Ruzicka represents the danger of the unknown. She plays with freedom, power, and nothing to lose. These types of opponents can be incredibly dangerous because they do not carry the burden of expectation. They swing freely, and on a good day, they can hit any player off the court. Eala must approach a match against Ruzicka with utmost respect and professionalism. She cannot afford to underestimate her or play passively. Eala must use her superior experience on the main tour to exploit Ruzicka's tactical weaknesses, perhaps by varying the height and pace of the ball to disrupt her rhythm. Regardless of who emerges from this quartet to face Eala, the underlying theme is preparation for the French Open. Strasbourg is a WTA 500 event with significant ranking points and prize money at stake. But for players of Eala's ambition, it is also a vital stepping stone. The conditions in Strasbourg, the heavy clay, the specific bounce of the ball, the European spring weather, all mimic what she will face in Paris. Therefore, this first-round match is not just about advancing in this specific tournament. It is about gathering data, testing the body, and fine-tuning the mind. Eala's recent run to the third round in Rome is a massive confidence booster. Defeating established players and testing herself against the world number 2, Rybakina, proves that Eala's ceiling is incredibly high. Against Rybakina, Eala showed she can handle raw, overwhelming power. She managed to break Rybakina's serve, a feat that is incredibly difficult on any surface. The 6-4, 6-3 scoreline in Rome does not fully reflect the competitiveness of the match. Eala was in many of those games, fighting off break points and forcing Rybakina to play her absolute best to win. She will need to draw on that experience heavily in Strasbourg. She now knows what it feels like to stand across the net from an elite, Grand Slam winning champion. That aura of invincibility that top players possess is slowly dissolving for Eala. She knows she can trade blows with them. Let us dive deeper into biomechanics of Eala's forehand, which will be the critical shot in any of these matchups. Eala possesses a Western grip on her forehand, which naturally allows her to generate a massive amount of topspin. On hard courts, this can sometimes lead to balls sitting up in the strike zone, but on clay, it is a devastating weapon. The ball grips the dirt and kicks up violently, pushing opponents off balance and forcing them to hit the ball above their shoulders. If she plays Kasakina, she must use this heavy forehand to push Kasakina wide on the forehand side, opening up the backhand down the line. If she plays Kenin, she needs to use the depth of that forehand to keep Kenin pinned back, preventing her from stepping in and flattening the ball. The key will be the contact point. Eala must ensure she is catching the ball out in front, not letting it drop too low, which would force her to hit a defensive, loopy shot. Her backhand, conversely, is flatter and more penetrating. It is her natural finishing shot. When Eala gets a short ball, she almost always looks to step around and drive the backhand cross-court or rip it down the line. The transition from the heavy, spinning forehand to flat, piercing backhand is jarring for opponents. It disrupts their rhythm and forces them to constantly adjust their footwork. In Strasbourg, managing this 1-2 punch will be vital. We also have to talk about the physical toll of the clay court season. Eala has played in Miami, Indian Wells, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and now has transitioned through Stuttgart, Madrid, and Rome. That is a lot of miles on the legs. The movement on clay, the sliding, the recovery, the constant starting and stopping, puts immense strain on the lower body. Eala's fitness team has clearly done a phenomenal job, as she looks strong and resilient. However, playing a grueling first-round match against a defensive wall like Kasatkina or a relentless fighter like Kenin will test her physical reserves. Nutrition, hydration, and post-match recovery will be just as important as her forehand and backhand. Furthermore, let us analyze the psychological aspect. Alexandra Eala is carrying the weight of Philippine tennis history. Every time she steps on the court, she is breaking new ground. The attention from the media, the expectations from fans back home. It is a heavy burden for a young athlete. Yet, she carries it with remarkable grace. She seems to thrive under pressure. But a high-profile first-round match where she's perceived as having a target on her back will require immense mental fortitude. She must find a way to block out the noise and focus purely on the execution of her game plan. She needs to play the ball, not the name of the opponent. As we look at the broader landscape of women's tennis, the parity is astounding. Any player in the top 100 can beat any other player on a given day. This makes the draw in Strasbourg incredibly volatile. Eala's direct entry into the main draw is a testament to her rising ranking and consistent results, bypassing the treacherous qualifying rounds. However, the irony is that she might end up facing a player who had to grind through those very qualifiers, a player who is already acclimatized to courts, the conditions, and the pressure of the tournament. A qualifier coming into the main draw is often dangerous because they are match tough and have nothing to lose. If Jakmat or Ruzic come to the qualifying draw to face Eala, they will be riding a wave of momentum. Eala will have to weather the early storm, use her superior class to weather the initial onslaught, and gradually assert her dominance as the match progresses. The strategic coaching decisions will also play a massive role. Eala's team will be analyzing hours of footage on all four potential opponents. They will be looking for patterns, weaknesses under pressure, and serving tendencies. If it is Kenin, they will look at how Kenin reacts when pushed wide on her forehand. If it is Kasatkina, they will formulate a plan for when to attack the net and when to stay back. Tennis is as much a game of chess as it is a physical contest, and the tactical battle off the court is just as crucial as the execution on it. This upcoming match in Strasbourg is a defining moment. It is a crucible that will forge Eala's readiness for Roland Garros. We are witnessing the making of a champion, step by step, match by match. The fact that the entire tennis world is shocked and buzzing about this round one encounter is proof of Eala's arrival on the main stage. She is no longer just a participant. She is a headline act. The anticipation is building. The courts are being swept, and the stage is set for a monumental clash. The beauty of the sport lies in its unpredictability, in the drama of two athletes pushing themselves to the absolute limit. And when Alexandra Eala steps onto that red clay in Strasbourg, facing whoever fate has placed across the net, we know we are in for something truly special. As we bring this extensive analysis to a close, let's take a moment to reflect on the sheer magnitude of what we are about to witness in Strasbourg. We have explored every angle, dissected every possible tactical scenario, and analyzed the immense pressure resting on Alexandra Eala's shoulders. The realization that her opening match will be against a fierce competitor, whether it be the strategic brilliance of Daria Kasatkina, the relentless aggression of Sofia Kenin, the home court advantage of Elsa Jakmat, or the fearless power of Antonia Ruzic, cements this as one of the most compelling first-round encounters of the 2026 season. It is a testament to the brutal, unforgiving nature of professional tennis, where reputations are tested daily and every victory must be earned through sweat, strategy, and unyielding determination. For Alexandra Eala, this is not just another match on the calendar. It is a litmus test for her Grand Slam ambitions. Surviving this initial gauntlet will require her to summon all the experience she has gathered over her meteoric rise. It will demand a heavy, spinning forehands, the surgical backhands down the line, and above all, the ice-cold composure she displayed against the world's elite in Rome. This match is about sending a definitive message to the locker room, that she has arrived, that she is ready, and that she fears no one on the red dirt. To all the fans watching, to everyone who has followed her journey from a junior prodigy to a WTA contender, this is the moment to rally behind her. The sport of tennis is elevated by these high-stakes dramas, by these collisions of talent and willpower. As the dust settles on the draw and the first ball is ready to be struck, the tension is palpable. The whole world is watching, captivated by the shock and awe of this spectacular draw. We will be here, following every serve, every rally, and every monumental shift in momentum. Thank you for joining me in this deep dive into the Strasbourg Open. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and enjoy the phenomenal tennis ahead. Until next time, keep your eyes on the court because history is waiting to be written.